No one in Cedar Ridge thought that Tuesday would matter. The sun rose like it always did over the quiet suburbs outside Charlotte, North Carolina. School buses groaned down familiar streets. Coffee machines hummed. News anchors debated politics. Lawn sprinklers clicked rhythmically across manicured yards. It felt ordinary. Completely ordinary. That's why nobody was ready. Mark Sullivan certainly wasn't. 41 years old. Financial advisor. Married. 2 kids. Attended church when schedules allowed. Believed in God, generally. Respected Christianity. Even donated to missions occasionally. But ready? That was different. 3 nights earlier, his wife Jenna had asked him a question after watching an online sermon. "Mark, if the rapture happened tonight, are we ready?" He laughed softly. "Jenna, people have been saying that for 2,000 years. She didn't laugh back. "I know. But what if they're right?" He kissed her forehead and changed the subject. Now, on Tuesday afternoon at 2:36 p.m., Mark stood in his downtown office staring at a stock report when something shifted. It wasn't visual. It wasn't audible at first. It was pressure. Like the atmosphere itself had tightened. Then it came. A sound. Not from outside. Not from speakers. It vibrated through his chest, a trumpet blast unlike anything earthly. Every conversation in the office stopped. Phones slipped from hands. Across the room, his assistant Emily gasped and vanished. Her chair rolled backward into empty space. Mark blinked. "What?" Another coworker disappeared mid-sentence. Clothes dropped to the carpet. Coffee spilled across a desk. Screams exploded around him. Outside the glass windows, traffic veered violently. A delivery truck slammed into a light pole. People were running into the streets, pointing upward. Mark's heart began hammering. No, no, no. His phone buzzed uncontrollably. Emergency alerts. News notifications. Incoming calls. Reports flooded in within minutes. Mass disappearances. Worldwide. Airplanes losing pilots. Hospitals losing surgeons mid-operation. Children missing from schools. Entire congregations gone, but not all of them. Mark felt his knees weaken. The rapture. The word he had always filed under. Someday theology. And he was still here. He called Jenna. No answer. He called again. Voicemail. His breathing turned shallow. He left the office and ran to his car. Sirens wailed everywhere. Smoke rose from multiple intersections. Strangers were sobbing in parking lots. On the drive home, a terrifying realization crept into his mind. What if Jenna had been ready? He burst through the front door. The house was silent. Too silent. The kids' backpacks lay near the kitchen table. Jenna's Bible sat open on the counter. Her wedding ring rested on the pages of 1 Thessalonians 4. Mark's legs gave out. She was gone. That night, the president addressed the nation. His voice trembled slightly but remained controlled. "We are facing an unprecedented global event. Scientists are working to determine the cause." But social media had already exploded with one word trending worldwide. #Rapture. Old sermon clips resurfaced everywhere. One viral video showed a pastor saying, "Jesus will come like a thief in the night. The question is not if. The question is, are you ready?" Mark shut off the television. He walked back to the kitchen. He picked up Jenna's Bible. Her handwriting filled the margins. Under one verse she had written, "Don't assume tomorrow." Tears blurred his vision. He had believed in God, but he had never surrendered. He had respected Jesus, but he had never truly followed him. Faith had been an accessory, not authority. And now the trumpet had already sounded. In the weeks that followed, the world spiraled. Financial markets collapsed under workforce loss. Riots broke out in major cities. Governments imposed emergency powers. Fear turned into desperation. And then a calm, articulate global leader emerged, offering stability. He dismissed religious explanations gently but firmly. This was not divine intervention, he assured. Humanity must unite and move forward. People clung to his confidence. A global digital system was introduced to restore economic order. Participation required biometric registration. At first, it seemed practical, necessary. Mark watched the rollout with growing unease. He began reading the Bible nightly, not casually, but urgently. Revelation no longer felt symbolic. It felt present. He read about the mark required to buy and sell. He read about allegiance. He read about those who would refuse and suffer. One evening, sitting alone in his dark living room, he whispered through tears, "I wasn't ready." But he also read something else. Revelation 7. A multitude coming out of the Great Tribulation. It would cost everything. But it was not too late to choose Christ. The next week, Mark's employer required enrollment into the new global system. His supervisor tried to reassure him. "It's just identification," she said. "No religious meaning." But the agreement included a pledge of unified allegiance to the global authority. Mark's hand hovered over the tablet. He thought about Jenna, her quiet faith, her question, "Are we ready?" He closed his eyes. "I'm not signing," he said. His supervisor stared at him. "You'll lose your position." "I know. And your benefits." "I know. And your security." Mark swallowed hard. "I already lost what mattered most." Within days, his accounts were frozen. Utilities disconnected. Friends distanced themselves. But something inside him changed. Peace replaced panic. Not because life became easier, it didn't. But because surrender had finally happened. Months later, detained with others who refused compliance, Mark stood in a processing facility. An officer held the implant device. "Final opportunity," the officer said flatly. "Affirm allegiance." Mark remembered laughing at Jenna's question. He remembered assuming there would always be more time. Time had run out once already. It would not deceive him again. He lifted his head. "Jesus Christ is Lord." Silence filled the room. Guards moved forward. And then, the building shook violently. Alarms blared. The ground cracked beneath their feet. The sky outside split open with blinding light. This was not the secret catching away. This was the visible return. Every eye saw him. Christ descending in glory. The systems of control collapsed instantly. The leader who promised unity stood powerless before true authority. Mark fell to his knees in the fractured courtyard. He had not been ready for the rapture. But he was ready now. And as heaven opened fully, he understood something eternal. The question had never been about science. Never about speculation. Never about debate. It had always been personal. Are you ready? Because when the trumpet sounds, there will be no rehearsal. Only reality.